गुड आफ्टरनून टू ऑल ऑफ यू। तो ब्रेक के बाद मिल रहे हैं। सो वी हैड कवर्ड द सिलेबस ऑफ एंशिएंट एनसीईआरटीज। अब यहां से हमें चलना है मिडिएवल की तरफ। ओके, नाउ थोड़ा सा डिस्कस करते हैं पहले इनिशियली, इवन दो बहुत अच्छे अच्छे टॉपिक्स आते हैं इनिशियली, अरब इन्वेजन आता है, टर्किश इन्वेजन आता है, मैनी सच टॉपिक्स आर देयर, बट बिफोर गोइंग इनटू दैट आई वांट ऑल ऑफ यू टू रिमेंबर फ्यू थिंग्स। नंबर वन, प्लीज इनको नोट डाउन कर लो। At one very important thing which is required to understand the early medieval period. Early medieval period means the decline roughly of Harsha, and thereafter we see the rise of Delhi Sultanate. As such देखो कोई time period defined नहीं है, but अगर कोई बोलेगा 750 1200 AD, this is the time period in which India was divided into multiple empires or kingdoms, smaller kingdoms roughly. The word kingdom should be more appropriate. Anyway, so India is affected by regional history. देखो आज का इंडिया जो है उसके एक स्पेसिफिक टेरिटरी है, बट वी वर नॉट लाइक दिस इन दोज टाइम्स। सो दैट्स व्हाई हमेशा टॉपिक को किस तरीके से समझना, हमने रीजनल हिस्ट्री के व्यू पॉइंट से समझना है। दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। लाइक सपोज what is happening in South India may not be directly linked with that in North India. What is happening in Northwest India, where we see the Arab invasion, may not have affected anything else in other parts of India. That's why regional history becomes paramount whenever we discuss about early medieval period. ये first important चीज है। Second, some new concepts are going to be used. These concepts like feudalism. Feudalism is a concept which we borrow from Europe. I will explain the concept, then we'll also check eventually कि इंडिया में इसको अप्लाई करना चाहिए कि नहीं करना चाहिए, because there is a very big debate that India was going through the phase of feudalism or not, something like that. So anyway, first fundamental thing is regional history. Whenever we understand regional history, उसकी तीन चीजें कंपोनेंट याद रखोगे, एक अपना नॉर्थ इंडिया, एक सेंट्रल और एक अपना साउथ इंडिया। सेंट्रल में आपका डेक्कन भी इंक्लूड हो जाएगा। तो हर जगह की डायनेस्टीज को हम देखेंगे। फ्यूडलिज्म इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एटलीस्ट इन नॉर्थ इंडिया, बिकॉज इन साउथ इंडिया दिस इज द फेज वेयर वी हैव द पावरफुल चोलास। दैट्स व्हाई यूजिंग द कंसेप्ट ऑफ फ्यूडलिज्म इन साउथ इंडिया इट्स नॉट अप्रोप्रिएट एट ऑल। तो मैक्सिमम कहां यूज कर सकते हैं? नॉर्थ इंडिया में। नंबर 3, दिस इज ऑल्सो द फेज ऑफ कल्चरल डेवलपमेंट। From cultural development, I mean that once the empires they are broken, it leads to rise of smaller kingdoms, and these smaller kingdoms will give patronage to their local elements. तो जितने भी इंडिया में लैंग्वेजेस हैं, important languages, जैसे अब बंगला का बात करते हैं, बंगला as a language, it started developing itself in early medieval period. Similarly, when we talk about Assamese, again early medieval period. So early medieval period, it's very important with respect to cultural development. Even if we talk about temple architecture, the best of the temples in North India as well as South India, they were built during the early medieval period. So this early medieval period, even though the British used to say it is a dark age, as I have already told you previously कि dark age का concept का meaning एक ही होता है, that there is political fragmentation, है ना, और political disunity is there, but that cannot be the only yardstick to measure the parts of history. हिस्ट्री में हम सब कुछ देखते हैं, कल्चरल डेवलपमेंट भी देखेंगे, इकोनॉमी का भी बात करेंगे, बिकॉज दिस कंसेप्ट ऑफ फ्यूडलिज्म दिस इज लिंक्ड विद डिक्लाइन ऑफ सेकेंडरी इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज, दिस इज आल्सो लिंक्ड विद द फेज ऑफ डी अर्बनाइजेशन। तो वो सारे कंसेप्ट आपके फ्यूडलिज्म के साथ अटैच होने वाले हैं। ठीक है, तो चलो पढ़ाई शुरू करते हैं, बट इन चीजों का आप ध्यान रखना, बिकॉज लुक वी आर ऑल्सो लेइंग द फाउंडेशन ऑफ आवर ऑप्शनल, एंड व्हेन वी ले द फाउंडेशन आइडियाज शुड बी वेरी क्लियर। जब आइडियाज क्लियर होने लग जाएंगे तो कोई दिक्कत आने ही नहीं वाली किसी भी कारण की। ठीक है, तो स्टार्ट करते हैं आज के साथ। तो फर्स्ट आई विल गिव यू ब्रीफ ओवरव्यू ऑफ व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग इन यूरोप। यूरोप में क्या चल रहा था एट द सेम टाइम। व्हाई वी आर टेकिंग दिस टॉपिक? बिकॉज द डिक्लाइन ऑफ एम्पायर इन इंडिया एंड द डिक्लाइन ऑफ एम्पायर इन यूरोप, दे आर वेरी कोटर्मिनस, लगभग सेम टाइम पीरियड पे डिक्लाइन होता है। ऑलराइट, so the first thing which we'll discuss is India and the world. So the 1,000-year period between, like from 8th to 18th century, this is roughly the time period जिसमें हम क्या यूज करते हैं word medieval, 8th to 18th century, and we saw very important changes in both India as well as the world. Now new forms of which are going to have profound impact on thinking and living started happening in Europe from this time onward. और यूरोप में जो मेजर चेंज आता है जिसको हमें रिकॉग्नाइज करना है, दैट इज द डिक्लाइन ऑफ रोमन पीरियड. ओके, दिस इज दैट फेज जो आपको याद रखना है, दैट वी सी द डिक्लाइन ऑफ रोमन एम्पायर इन द वेस्ट, बट एट द सेम टाइम वी सी द राइज ऑफ अनदर रोमन एम्पायर जिसको हम क्या बोलते हैं, बिजेंटीन एम्पायर. दिस एम्पायर इज नोन एज बिजेंटीन. ओके, इसको ध्यान रखेंगे, मैं आपको एक बार मैप के थ्रू दिखाता हूं. दिस इज द एरिया. Previously, this Roman Empire was concentrated in the western part, but now this Roman Empire, which was going to be controlled from the area of Constantinople. So that's why the Roman Empire shifted towards the east, and this was a major change with respect to the Europeans. Now, one more important thing: this Constantinople eventually will be taken over by the Turks. Turks are going to capture it by 1453. Constantinople will go to the Turks, and once the Turks will control Constantinople, eventually all the Europeans, they would want to come towards India directly, because सारा ट्रेड कौन रोक लेगा यहाँ के, Turks. अपनी मनमर्जी के टैक्सेस इंपोज करना स्टार्ट कर देंगे. So this empire, Byzantine Empire, is going to continue, and eventually on the declining era of this area we'll see the rise of Ottoman Empire. तो Ottoman Empire बाद में यहाँ पे emerge होगा लास्ट में जाके. हमारे लिए जानना इसलिए important है because this is the phase where we see the rise of important trade linkages with Indians, and as all of us know, the first European power to come to India, it was Portugal, which came directly, and the most famous personality is Vasco da Gama. क्यों आने की रीजन होगा, वो यही रीजन यहाँ से कनेक्ट करेंगे. So first thing which we have to understand, from Roman Empire to Renaissance. So if we see the history of Europe, 6th to 14th century, NCERT में बहुत अच्छे से समझाया हुआ है कि किस तरीके से हम आगे डिसेंड करते हैं. Anyway, the mighty Roman Empire got broken into two, okay, by the third quarter of 6th century. So similarly the same time period, जैसे गुप्ता एम्पायर का डिक्लाइन का टाइम पीरियड क्या है, 550 AD. यहाँ पे कितना रफली 575 AD के आसपास का टाइम पीरियड है. इनफैक्ट बहुत लोग बोलते हैं 6th century BC is the beginning of empires in the whole of the world. जैसे इंडिया में क्या था, the beginning of महाजनपदा, 6th century BC, and 6th century AD is the decline of empire. जितने भी famous personalities हैं, जो हम एथेंस की बात करते हैं, ग्रीस की बात करते हैं, all of them they start from 6th century BC, and by 6th century AD eventually we see decline of Roman Empire. इंडिया में भी महाजनपदा and a decline of Gupta Empire. तो इसको 1000 golden years बोलते हैं एक तरीके से. And why do we say that? Because we see rise of maximum political development in the ancient India, at least in the political development specifically I'm telling. During the phase we see state formation in all parts of India, जो हमने डिस्कस किया था, North India, Deccan as well as South India. So this one thing you're going to remember. Second, the western part with the capital at Rome was now overwhelmed by the Slavs, they're going to overwhelm it, and the German tribesmen who came from the area of both Russia as well as current Germany. So this area was now on the decline. These tribes came in many waves and indulged in great deal of ravaging. इन्होंने पूरा प्लंडर करना शुरू कर दिया ओल्ड रोमन एम्पायर को. So this is the phase of decline of Roman Empire. ये आप लोगों को इसलिए समझना है, since the Roman Empire started declining, one more important thing is going to be linked with early 7th century, and that is the rise of Islam. Okay, Islam is, यहाँ पे Roman Empire decline कर रहा है. By early 7th century, as all of us know about Prophet Muhammad, the great the great walk from Makkah to Medina, which eventually took an organized form and it became a religion. तो इस्लाम फिर spread करना start करेगा throughout the world, and one of the aspect of that which is linked to Indian history, that is the Arab invasion of Sindh, and Arabs, they are directly linked to Islam. They were able to reach Spain, they were able to reach Portugal, and what was the reason for that? The reason, because Roman Empire was no more that much strong in western part of Europe. तो जब भी हम हिस्ट्री में पढ़ाई करते हैं चीजों को ना फेजेस वाइज डिवाइड करना जरूरी है. एंड यूरोपियन हिस्ट्री इट इज वेरी मच लिंक टू इंडियन हिस्ट्री, नॉट वेरी डायरेक्टली बट एटलीस्ट द फंडामेंटल लेवल, कि वहां जो चेंजेस होते हैं इंडिया में भी वो रिफ्लेक्ट होने लग जाते हैं. लाइक वी सी डिक्लाइन ऑफ गुप्ता एम्पायर, वी सी डिक्लाइन ऑफ रोमन एम्पायर, बहुत कनेक्टेड थे. द ट्रेड वाज वेरी मच connected to each other. That is something which we need to remember. Over a course of time, all these tribes, okay, they settled down in different parts of Europe. They came out with different languages and different set of governments. So the basic thing which we have to remember from exam point of view, कि we see decline of Roman Empire. और जब Roman Empire decline करता है in the West, simultaneously we see the rise of another Roman Empire. But this Roman Empire is going to start in the east, and this empire is given the name Byzantine. Constantinople का जो दूसरा नाम था वो क्या था? Byzantine. Okay, Constantinople जो आज का कौन सा एरिया है? Istanbul. Istanbul is a city which is both in Asia as well as Europe. That's the distinction, है ना? बहुत कम cities के बाद ऐसी distinction होंगी world में. So that why the legacy of the Rome now shifted towards east. East became more important. And this eastern part of old Roman Empire was occupied, its capital eventually became Byzantine or what we know as Constantinople. This empire included, अब इसके अंदर area तो we can see directly from the map itself, okay. So mostly it included this eastern part of Europe, okay. This area of Turkey, I hope all of you know, this area is Turkey, इसको Asia Minor भी बोलते हैं. This area the biggest area in the West Asia, most colossal, आज तक लड़ाई चल रही है. Syria, Israel and Palestine, these are the area of Egypt and the northern parts of the various countries of Africa, which includes countries like Algeria, Libya, all these countries are in this line. Alright, so please try to understand, this is the area. So that's why we see rise of this Byzantine Empire. This Byzantine Empire again was built upon the principle of strong monarchy, but जो इनका religion था, it was not Catholic. Their religion was now going to change. They started following this religion, which is eventually known as Greece Orthodox Church. ये point आप इसलिए याद रखेंगे. This is going to be the biggest reason why we see Crimean War after many centuries. 1853 में start होगा in Europe, and the whole issue will be Catholics versus the Greek Orthodox Church. इसको हम Crimean War बोलते हैं. Crimean War is famously linked with Italy as well as German unification. तो रूट कोज यहाँ मिलता है हमें जाके Byzantine Empire पे. Why? Because people of this area started becoming followers of Greece Orthodox Church, and this was also a time where the Russians, they were converted to Christianity. This was also a time where these Russians, and eventually Russians became the protector of Greek Orthodox churches also. So Crimean War, it is fought between France and Russia. इन दोनों के बीच में लड़ाई थी. France was Catholic country, the Russian, they were the followers of this Orthodox religion. उसका सबसे मेजर चर्च कौन से एरिया में रहता है? ग्रीक में रहता है. बस इतना याद रख लीजिए, एग्जाम के लिए इतना हमारे लिए सफिशिएंट है. तो प्रीलिम्स में तो इस एरिया से कभी क्वेश्चन आएंगे नहीं, बस मेंस में आंसर राइटिंग में कुछ कनेक्शन के लिए. ठीक है, आई होप दिस इज क्लियर. दिस इज व्हाट यूरोप वाज गोइंग थ्रू. ओके, इवेंचुअली if we see this Greco-Roman civilization and the Arab world, they helped us in the revival of Greek learning, okay, and it disappeared finally in the middle of 15th century when this area was taken over by Turks. So उन्होंने revive किया same pattern को, finally Turks ने उसको overcome कर लिया. Turks एक बार इसको overcome कर जाएंगे by 1453. So which empire is going to rise in this area? Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire is going to rise, and this Ottoman Empire eventually is going to continue, and this will come to end by which important event? First World War. First World War में जाके finally खत्म होगा Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire को आपको इसलिए भी याद रखना है, why? The most important institution of the Muslims, है ना, Caliph, है ना, the most important institution, Caliph, he was the major leader of the Ottoman Empire. तो यहाँ से लिंक होगा. And why are we studying about these people? Why? Because the caliphs हैं, the caliphs, they used to give sanctity to the person who were ruling. उनको एक तरीके का support provide करते थे. Okay, So that's why Ottoman Empire will become very, very important for us. So इतना हमने basic review करना है. One institution which is very much linked to these people, that is known as the growth of feudalism. Western Europe में, at a time when we see the rise of Byzantine dynasties in the eastern part of Europe, at the same time in the Western Europe we see rise of feudalism. And feudalism हमें इसलिए समझना because देखो ये इस पे हर साल एक क्वेश्चन 100% है, और इसलिए इस पे डिबेट्स आती हैं कि डिबेट्स ये है कि इंडिया में फ्यूडलिज्म था या फिर नहीं था, और वो किस बेसिस पे समझना, एक बार पहले वो बात कर लेते हैं उस बारे में. लेट अस सी दैट. So whenever we talk about feudalism, okay, we say it was a new kind of society as well as a new system of government. Two important changes. Changes were reflecting in society as well as the governance structure. दोनों में ये चीज आप याद रखना because eventually we have to compare it with India. And this new order that gradually emerged eventually is known as feudalism. इस feudalism word को अगर हम बात करें Latin में इसको बोलते हैं feudum. In English it is known as fief. Okay. So eventually what was this institution all about? What was the key characteristics of this institution? The most powerful element was that of feudal chiefs who along with their military following dominated large tracts of land. So land became very, very important. These people were controlling large tracts of land, and on this large tract of land they used to have peasants with them, farmers जिनके पास कोई भी पावर नहीं थी with respect to what was to be produced. Their movement were curtailed. Like today all of us know we have fundamental rights, like है ना कि हम कहीं भी इंडिया में freely move कर सकते हैं subject to the rights of certain communities. That's what we have. But in those times it was not possible for the farmers to go from one place to another, and such people, उनके लिए एक specific word हम use करते हैं जिसको आप सब लोग याद रखें. It is known as serfs. Those who do not have any set of rights. And okay, now another important thing which is linked with feudalism is that feudalism does not mean the king is not there. It means king is there, but the king is also like one of the more powerful feudal lords. Okay, the king is also having some power, but that power is not decisive in nature. He is having support from the lower feudal chiefs, but he is also like the most powerful feudal chief. So what they used to do in the course of time, monarchy became stronger. जैसे हम countries का बात करें, England, France, their monarchy started becoming stronger, and then only by 15th and 16th century they were able to become strong countries. And wherever feudalism, serfdom continued, those countries remained weak. Like if you see the case of Russia, in Russia serfdom was abolished in 1861. 19th century में जाके इसको abolish किया गया. Well, this was abolished in England, France relatively by 16th and 17th century. तो इस तरीके से जिस कंट्री भी इस तरह के गवर्नेंस सेटअप के साथ कैरी करती रही, that those countries eventually remain weaker in nature. Attempt was made to limit the power of the chiefs who constantly fought against each other, leading to a state of social anarchy. So another important problem with this institution of feudalism is that law and order can never be in great place. Why? Because the feudal chiefs are going to fight against each other in order to increase their own power. Right? So movies में होता है कि एक एरिया में चार लोग फाइट कर रहे हैं, eventually one person is going to emerge victorious. Same kind of situation can be imagined even with respect to the feudal chiefs. One method of controlling this, the king used to swear the chief to an oath. उनको बोलते जैसे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की ओथ हर कोई लेता है, MP as well as MLAs and eventually those who are the public functionaries, हर कोई ओथ लेता है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की आज की डेट में. But in those times एक ही ओथ थी, and that was they used to swear the chiefs to an oath, and which was more of like giving them a kind of attention कि भाई आप loyal हैं towards the crown. This is how they used to control it. Those feudal lords, they were also known as vassals. Vassals is the word which is used for them. एक बार structure देख लेते हैं. Through the pictography it will become relatively easy for all of you. So this is how the structure used to be. At the top there used to be a king. Okay. Under the king there used to be lords, and the lords they were used to known as vassals. Okay. Under the vassals there used to be knights, and they used to be the vassal to the lords. Below them used to be those people who used to produce. And what was this producing class known as? Serfs. This is how the system used to work. Okay, सबसे top class पे king, then the very powerful chiefs who were known as fiefs, all right, or the vassals to king. Then less powerful, those themselves, they were known as knights, and they were vassals to the lords. At top we have king, then we have lords, then we have knights. At the bottom level we have the peasantry, and this peasantry is not having the right to move from one place to another, and without the permission of the knights and the lord they cannot go from one place to another. That's why, since their freedom was curtailed, they always used to be available for the any kind of service which was required by the lords or the knights. And such people, such peasantry which is not having this kinds of freedom, they are known as serfs. In fact, serfs को slaves की तरह भी treat करते थे. Okay, so this is how we see growth of feudalism in western part of Europe. अब ये जो concept है feudalism, okay, this is linked with two further concept. At the moment feudalism comes in, it increases the primacy of agriculture. Why it increases the primacy of agriculture? Because naturally large tracts of land, they were under the control of various feudal lords. So this one thing you're going to remember. Second, this gets linked with the decline of trade and commerce. Why do we see a decline in trade and commerce with the rise of feudalism? That's a question which arises. The reason is multiplicity of laws. Why multiplicity of laws comes into picture? Because we have large number of feudal lords. You go from one territory to another. हर कोई अपना हिस्सा मांगने को बैठा हुआ है. Eventually, who is going to decline? Trade and commerce. The moment trade and commerce is going to decline, this is also going to lead to decline of urbanization. And that's why the most important economic activity eventually remains, that is known as agriculture. देखो उस time industry तो as such थी नहीं, जो modern industry है, that will begin only from 18th century. So we were logically dependent upon agriculture and trade and commerce, and this trade and commerce was linked to various art and crafts. So that's why the western part of Europe was facing these problems. Okay, and that's why feudalism always gets linked to these associated concepts. In case of Europe, as we were discussing, one concept which is linked to feudalism, that is known as serfdom or the presence of serfs. The second concept which is linked to that is the system of manor. System of manor means there used to be big forts, the big forts for the feudal lords, and these feudal lords used to control these serfs from their homes, or known as manor. These two systems were not there in India. इंडिया में ना तो सर्फडम था ना मेनोर सिस्टम है, दोनों ही नहीं थे. And that's why there's a very big historical debate in India. If we see the Marxist historian में हमारे पास आते हैं, D.D. Kosambi is there, then we have R.S. Sharma is there, B.N.S. Yadava is there. All these three personalities, they argue that yes, there was feudalism in India. However, this has been countered by various people, like Herman Khulke has countered it. Okay, we have seen countering from other historians, है ना, बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिन्होंने इसको काउंटर किया है. Even in case of South India, many historians of South India, including Neelkanth Shastri, they are against the concept of using feudalism. और वो इसीलिए यूज नहीं करते because India में serfdom और manor system it was not present. In case of India, the system which becomes most important that we know about, the system is known as Samanta system, which we'll discuss in the due course. Okay, so feudalism के ऊपर debate आती इसलिए है, this system was percolating the societies of Western Europe, and at the same time India was also politically divided because वहाँ पे भी Roman Empire decline हुआ था in the Western Europe, Eastern Europe में shift हो गया था, where we having Byzantine Empire. In case of India, Gupta Empire declined. As we have already discussed, even under Harshvardhana, the feudal lords could not be controlled, and people used to took these titles, Samanta, Mahasamanta, these kinds of titles. So in a way, yes, feudal lords emerged. They did emerge. However, can we link this kind of feudalism to serfdom and manor? That is something which is questionable in India. तो ये questionable है इंडिया में. इसको बाद में कभी अच्छे से डिस्कस करेंगे, बिकॉज फ्यूडलिज्म के ऊपर पूरी हमें क्लास करनी पड़ती है अच्छे से. सो दैट विल डू लेटर ऑन, बट आई होप दिस इज समथिंग यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड. ओके, कि फ्यूडलिज्म वहां पे स्टार्ट होता है. The concept of vessel is very clear. It means that you are giving loyalty towards somebody else. You are accepting somebody else as the chief. So you become a vessel. Vessel is a word that we understand. Two important features which we have already discussed. The first is the institution of serfdom. Serfdom means presence of people whose overall freedom, it is curtailed in nature. It means a peasant who worked on the land but could not change his profession, migrate to any other area or marry without the permission of his lord or master. शादी भी नहीं कर सकता. सब कुछ किसके हाथ में है? लॉर्ड के हाथ में है. इनफैक्ट द cultural elements which includes कौन सा आप फेस्टिवल सेलिब्रेट करोगे, that was also decided by the lord. कौन सी आप क्रॉप्स को कल्टीवेट करोगे, eventually it is again decided by the lord. So that's why in India the freedoms enjoyed by the peasantry, and in Western Europe there was a considerable difference. But फिर भी feudalism word को इंडिया में इतना पॉपुलराइज कर दिया गया by the Marxist historians. आज तक डिबेट चल रही है उसके ऊपर, कभी बाद में बात करेंगे उसके बारे में अच्छे से. सेकंड, एज आई हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस, दिस इज द कांसेप्ट ऑफ मेनर. तो वहां पे मेनर वाज नथिंग बट इट वाज द हाउस और द कैसल वेयर द लॉर्ड्स लिव्ड. मूवीज वगैरह देखे होंगे आपने, जब भी इंग्लैंड वगैरह के देखते हैं तो हर किसी का एक कासल होता था, दिस फ्यूडल लॉर्ड्स. ओके, in many of the European countries large tracts of land were owned by the lords of these manor. A part of land was cultivated by the lord directly with the help of serfs who had to divide their time between cultivating their own lands and the fields of their master. So in this way the economy of the Western Europe, it was shifting towards feudalism. Some elements of this were in India but exactly same replica नहीं था, same copy हम मान ही नहीं सकते. और दो चीजों बिल्कुल नहीं मैच करती, एक सर्फडम, सेकंड द सिस्टम ऑफ मैनर. ये आप याद रखेंगे जब हम हिस्टोरियंस को डिस्कस करेंगे, तो उस टाइम पे यही बेसिक पॉइंट्स के ऊपर हम आगे बिल्डअप करेंगे. ओके, ये वाला क्वेश्चन आप मेरे साथ पढ़िए, दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Some historians think that system of serfdom and manor system are vital parts of feudalism, and this is wrong, and that is wrong to speak of feudalism for societies in which these two did not exist. अब इंडिया में exist कर ही नहीं. In India also for some percentage of peasantry their movement may have been curtailed, but was it an established system? No. We do not find any references from literary sources or archaeological sources. कहीं से हमें बिल्कुल पता नहीं चलता. That's why those people who are using the word feudalism, okay, they are doing historical crimes. Why historical crimes? Because concept के basis पे application करोगे ना. अभी जब हम पढ़ेंगे ना the thesis of these important personality, D.D. Kosambi, they use the words like feudalism from above, feudalism from below. Okay, all these are. B.N.S. Yadava will say that there was military governors in India known as Samanta, and they used to restrict the movement of peasantry. अब ऐसा concept इंडिया में नहीं पता, ऐसा सिस्टम में नहीं बना, बट वो मनगढ़ंत कहानियां लेके आते हैं so that they can support the system of feudalism. बट इसको फिर बहुत लोग क्रिटिसाइज भी करेंगे इवेंचुअली. सो निष्कर्ष ये निकल के आता है, western part of Europe, it saw the decline of Roman Empire. Simultaneously we also saw a decline, the decline of Gupta Empire. That is number one. Number two, their societies now shifted towards the system of feudalism, the Western Europe specifically, because in the Eastern Europe we again had see the rise of Byzantine Empire. All right. Number three, the two important part of their feudalism system, one was system of serfdom, second was system of manor, and both of them they were absent in India. That is what we need to understand from this European history, जो कि काम का है हम लोगों के लिए. बाकी सब चीजें जनरल नॉलेज के लिए ठीक है, बट ऐसा एग्जाम में आपको काम नहीं आने वाली. We have discussed some events, like event number one, which is important for us, it is the downfall of the Roman Empire in the west. Second, we see the rise of Islam. Islam is going to rise. The most important time period which you have to remember, it is from 622 to 624 AD. This is the time period where we see the rise of Islam. Prophet Muhammad, he is considered as the messenger of God. The word prophet is directly linked to it, and the word which is utilized to remember the God, it is known as Allah. Now, why Islam became so much powerful in the 7th century? That is something which we have to understand very briefly. Spread क्यों हुआ इतना ज़्यादा? So, bus most important reason why Islam spread, again, number one, less number of rituals. It was easy for the common people to understand it. Unnecessary rituals नहीं करने थे किसी भी चीज के लिए. Second, the idea of equality. We see Hinduism by this time was divided into various castes. We go towards Christianity. Again, it was divided into various relatively, depending upon their social hierarchy. Caste was not there, but rituals, they were very high in Christianity. Here was a religion which was talking about equality, which was talking about brotherhood, and as a result of that, eventually it started rising. One more thing, one more concept which is very, very much linked with Islam is the concept of, what's the most famous concept? The concept of jihad. This concept of jihad became very important for the spread of Islam. Jihad word means a holy war. It means a holy war. And if a specific event has been declared as jihad, it is a duty of a Muslim. Muslim means a follower of Islam. Okay, it becomes a duty for a Muslim to eventually help them out. So that's why the use of the word jihad became very much used whenever there used to be any kind of war. This concept led to humongous growth of Islam. So Islam spread to Europe, places like Spain, some areas of Portugal, North Africa. Without a doubt, West Asia was probably the most affected area, and eventually we see the rise towards northwestern part of Indian subcontinent. Starting from 622 all the way up to 712, हम लगभग 90 years की बात कर रहे हैं. In these 90 years, it has spread to Europe, it has spread to Africa, and it has spread also to Asia. Okay, so that's why one thing which is very, very important for us to understand at this point of time, that this was not only a religion, it was also a political force.
Hi, a very good evening to all of you. I'm Vikas Elawat. I'm a former civil servant. I was able to crack UPSC twice. In fact, in 2018, I was able to get highest marks in history optional, and they were around 324. So this year, I'm coming up with a series which I am calling Self-Study History Optional. इस series में 100 से ज़्यादा वीडियो होने वाले हैं, which are going to cover the different nuances of ancient, medieval, modern as well as world history. So those of you who are preparing for 2025, register करिए and try to get the maximum out of this specific initiative of ours. So at Prep Career IAS, we are producing results from last many years. 2023 में बहुत सारे टॉपर्स हमारे इंस्टीट्यूट से थे. 2022, 21 हर साल बहुत अच्छे टॉपर्स यहाँ से निकले हैं, and they have been able to get very good marks in history optional. So those of you who are thinking कि यार start करके कितना कर पाएंगे कितना नहीं कर पाएंगे, we already have achievements with us. I was able to achieve, my students are achieving, and you can be the next. इन सेशंस में क्या होने वाला है? नंबर 1, विल बी फोकसिंग ऑन फाउंडेशन ऑफ बेसिक कंसेप्ट्स, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम व्हाट इज हिस्ट्री, व्हाट इज हिस्टोरिकल पीरियड, व्हाट इज प्रोटो हिस्ट्री, व्हाट इज प्री हिस्ट्री, बेसिक लेवल. ओके. सेकंड, अलाइनमेंट विद यूपीएससी सिलेबस. जितना भी हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल का सिलेबस है वो 51 पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड है. सो वी आर गोइंग टू अलाइन ईच एंड एवरी कंसेप्ट विद द सिलेबस इटसेल्फ. Number 3, we're going to focus on answer writing. All of you know कि जो मेंस है वो ऑब्जेक्टिव नहीं होता है, वो सब्जेक्टिव लेवल पे होता है, और आप सब लोगों को आंसर राइटिंग सीखना शुरू करना पड़ेगा, है ना. वी डू नॉट हैव टू मच ऑफ टाइम, तो स्टार्टिंग से ही आंसर राइटिंग शुरू करेंगे. एंड नंबर 4, द ओवरऑल पैकेज इज़ वेरी हॉलिस्टिक इन नेचर. तो अगर आप इसको अच्छे से कर लेते हैं तो जो बेसिक लेवल फाउंडेशन हिस्ट्री ऑप्शनल की वो कंप्लीट हो जाएगी. यू आर गोइंग टू गेट मैनी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स अलॉन्ग विद दिस. ओके, 100+ सेशन है, चारों पार्ट कवर होंगे. थीम वाइज सेग्रीगेटेड डायग्राम, फ्लो चार्ट, जितने भी इंपॉर्टेंट एनसीईआरटीज हैं. देखो, अगर हम सारी एनसीईआरटीज को कंबाइन कर दें, एंशिएंट, मिडेवल, मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड ऑफ वेरियस बोर्ड्स ऑफ इंडिया, तो 25 से 26 एनसीईआरटी निकल के आती हैं. उन सबको हमने कोहेरेंट फॉर्म में डिज़ाइन किया है सो दैट यू कैन लर्न द बेस्ट फ्रॉम दैट. ओके, बिकॉज देखो हिस्ट्री में रिसर्चेज चलती रहती हैं. अभी तमिलनाडु की जो एनसीईआरटीज हैं, दे आर मोर इंपॉर्टेंट इन कंपेरिजन टू द रीसेंट हिस्ट्री देन द प्रीवियस हिस्ट्री, जो कि आर.एस. शर्मा वगैरह, सतीश चंद्रा या फिर बिपिन चंद्रा ने लिखी हैं. दैट्स वाई वी आर कवरिंग ऑल द एनसीईआरटीज एंड दैट्स वाई 100+ सेशंस हो जा रहे हैं टोटल मिला के. देन 30+ वैल्यू एडेड आपको डॉक्यूमेंट मिलने वाले हैं, डेडिकेटेड आंसर राइटिंग सेशन मिलेंगे, जूम सेशंस भी करेंगे बाद में, ताकि आप लोगों की जितने भी डाउट्स हों विद रिस्पेक्ट टू लर्निंग दे कुड बी सॉल्व्ड. ओवरऑल जो है आपको क्लास की पीपीटीज मिलेंगी, कंसेप्ट लिस्ट मिलेगा, पीवाईक्यूज, जितने भी पीवाईक्यूज हैं उनको अच्छे से हमने डिज़ाइन कर दिया ताकि आप सब उनको अच्छे से पढ़ सकें. माइंड मैप मिलेंगे पूरे सिलेबस के, वर्कबुक और लर्निंग असाइनमेंट्स मिलेंगे, एंड सेल्फ असेसमेंट टेस्ट, सो दैट वंस यू लर्न समथिंग तो साथ में उसको एटलीस्ट इवेल्युएट भी करना चाहिए ना, कि भाई हमें कुछ समझ में आया भी है, नहीं आया, एटलीस्ट जितना रिक्वायर्ड है वहाँ तक पहुँचे हैं या फिर नहीं पहुँचे हैं. तो आपको करना क्या है, वट वी नीड टू डू दैट, सबसे पहले आप रजिस्टर कर लीजिए. ठीक है, आपको एक स्पेसिफिक गूगल शीट मिलेगा, उसमें आप रजिस्टर कर लीजिए. देन एज ऑल ऑफ अस अंडरस्टैंड, हर किसी के पास लिमिटेड स्लॉट्स हैं, तो आपको एक स्पेसिफिक कॉल आएगा, एंड दैट इज समथिंग विच वी आर कॉलिंग एट स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस. बिकॉज अगर हमें आपको ये सारी सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करनी है, द नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स विच वी कैन हेल्प, दे आर ऑलवेज लिमिटेड इन नेचर. सो अकेडमिक काउंसलर इज गोइंग टू कॉल यू, दे गोइंग टू हेल्प यू और दे गोइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है. हो सकता है आप कॉलेज के फर्स्ट ईयर में हो, सेकंड ईयर में, थर्ड ईयर में हो, और यू मे हैव ऑलरेडी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर सम टाइम एंड यू आर नॉट गेटिंग द डिजायर्ड रिजल्ट. तो इसलिए हमें स्क्रीनिंग प्रोसेस चाहिए होगा. एंड फाइनली ऑन द basis of this, you're going to get the benefit of this program.